Been a minute since I've done a talking head. Today, I am just so frustrated with one element of my day. As a realtor, we meet all kinds of people and in all kinds of places, and we try to put together transactions. I do a lot of bank REO work. My colleague Kathy is a listing agent for bank foreclosed properties, and she does not handle dual agency because it does not provide an arm's length in the transaction, and that can leave us with some legal liability. So, for 17 years now, she has referred those people to me that are looking at her properties, especially because bank foreclosed properties, REO properties, are a setup for an agent to be sued on. They're sold as is, and buyers need to waive their inspection all the time. And the real estate commission or a judge could say that we weren't able with dual agency to amply protect both parties because of this, that, or the other thing. I believe people can do dual agency without a problem, but with the bank REOs, it's a whole different story because you're supposed to advise to have an inspection for people or for people to have an inspection. And the banks don't want the inspection. So if they want to get the property, they need to waive the inspection. And that's a thing. So anyway, I showed one of her properties about a week ago to these guys. First, the one partner called. I called him back on the phone. Great guy, respectful, listened, dignified, and so forth. And then he showed up late with his partner for our meeting at the property. And he was willing to listen to what the real estate commission expects we do. Upon our first meeting, the minute we say, "Hi, my name is," we are supposed to engage that person with what they call the green sheet or the consumer notice. Now, if I'm to be truthful, which I am, there have been times when I haven't done that. I've met somebody and I've just told them verbally how we work as agents, and then prior to this big Zillow lawsuit and so forth, I've just told them, right now I don't have an agency with anybody. My brokerage does because the brokerage is actually selling the property. So in a kind of a way, I've got a connection to the seller. Anyway, long story boring is that I then have to go into explanation about buyer agency, and in which case I would be representing a buyer that had interest in that property. And then now we're expected to immediately sign a buyer agency with them, and most people are like, "I don't even know you." So no, but this is what we're supposed to do. So that's that. Anyway, I'm trying to explain to this dude and his partner about buyer agency and seller agency and dual agency. And the partner is in there for like, I don't know, like 10 seconds, and all of a sudden he walks off and starts looking through the house. So I continue to explain this to the nice guy that I talked to on the phone and explain to him about what, my minimum commission is. And because these properties are like, 30, 40, 50, $60,000. And if we get sued as agents, our deductible for our insurance is like $5,000. So I'm gonna sell you a house to make a $1,700 paycheck, and then you sue me, and I gotta come up with 5 grand So you can go after 50, 60, 70, $100,000, whatever. Doesn't make much sense. Again, long story boring. Dude takes off, doesn't listen to a thing I said, not one thing. And then they leave the house and they're like, "Well, we'll get back with you." I said, "Well, I'd appreciate it because a lot of people don't even have the common courtesy to say, 'Yeah, I'm not interested. Thanks for your time. You know, have a good life.'" Then they call back, they wanna write an offer, and this guy puts me through a bunch of changes with the way he wants to do the contract, and one of those is, "I don't know why you need all this paperwork." I'm like, "Well, because we have to upload the actual contract to the platform that the bank works off of, because there's no other way to get the contract over to them, the offer over to them. I usually use an LOI, and I've been doing real estate for however long." I've been doing real estate for over 30 years now, and this guy was probably in Pampers when I first started working with Kathy 17 years ago. But he's got a bunch of money in his bank account for his proof of funds, and he's been in New York and whatever. Anyway, the deal just could not come together, and it could not come together because of arrogance. I have a license to watch over. In that, I also have a fiduciary, a legal responsibility to the client to make sure that the client is well cared for. If the client doesn't want to take phone calls for explanation about the transaction and how it goes on, and they just want to send emails, I'm not able to amply represent them. So, what this guy's arrogance did, because we were at a place where I knew we could have put a transaction together with the bank, no problem. And, there would have been an offer, a counter, and probably an acceptance. And this guy completely just screwed himself because he was so arrogant, because he's been writing LOIs to old ladies probably in wherever, and they've accepted them and then they've gone under contract. One thing anybody dealing with real estate needs to understand is, as agents, we have a license, it's our living, and we do things to the best of our ability in a manner in which the Pennsylvania Real Estate Commission, the Colorado, the Missouri, the New York, whatever commission expects us to do it in. So when you're a buyer, what you need to do when you're meeting with an agent is listen first. We know you want to buy a house. That's why we're there. But there is a process, a procedure, and it must be followed the right way for us not to endanger the client's interest, or for that matter, our own. So there's today's talking head. I got a little bit off my chest too. And it's just good if you're an investor out there, for you to know we are not trying to do anything but follow the rules, the regulation, and the law, protecting everybody in the transaction. Have a great day.